Marshall Mathers IV here. I really wish that The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which came out and was released on December 17 in the year 2003, would have came out and been released on December 17, but in the year 2001. And I also really strongly wish that Peter Jackson would have had an hour of extended scenes, so 30 minutes on part 1 or disc 1 of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and 30 minutes on part 2 or disc 2 of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And I also really wish that Peter Jackson would have never added stupid fucking faggot ass gay scenes of burping and farting in any of those fucking movies, being that of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which has by far the worst extended scene in movie history, which is a extended scene of Gimli and Legolas having a drinking contest. And obviously Legolas is all perfect and whatnot and whatever, and he's drinking slowly and normally, while Gimli, like a fat fucking faggot ass slob that he is just gulping down each fucking can of beer or whatever. And there's a scene in the extended scene where he lifts up off the chair and he fucking farts, and then he laughs like pretty much a psychopath. After he farts, he just goes all like literally, that's pretty accurate to how his actual laugh was in that certain specific extended scene in The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King Extended Edition. And before Gimli faints, he burps, and then he goes cross-eyed, and then he falls back on the chair. And I mean, this is exactly what I mean, of how much of just an absolute homosexual that Peter Jackson honestly is. And why I'm just so convinced. Because why else would he... First of all, in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, when the hobbits go to Bree, he burps, because there's a cameo, and it's hard to see him because it's dark, and he's eating a carrot. He looks at them and just randomly, out of nowhere, burps. And then in an extended edition of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Pippin, because he had too many elven bread, he burps when Merry asks him, how many did you have? Because Legolas says that one small bite is enough to feed the stomach of a grown man. And Merry says then, how many did you eat? And Pippin replies 4, and he does this big ass belch. And then in The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and this is just in the normal theatrical version, Gimli burps because he's drinking too fast, and also probably too much. And then the worst extended scene is, of course, in The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, where not only Gimli lifts up his fat ass and farts, and then laughs like a psychopath, and a nasty fucking a scumbag like he is, and then before he faints, he fucking burps, and then goes cross-eyed. And so in all three movies, all three of them, there are 2 burping scenes in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, 1 in the theatrical version, and 1 in the extended edition, making it in all 2. And then in The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, there's 1 burping scene of Gimli. And then in the extended edition of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, there's a fart scene where Gimli farts, and then right before he faints, burps. And, I mean, again, why, Peter Jackson, why? What is your thing about guys burping and farting that you just always want to put it in your movies for some reason? As if it's necessary, and as if it needs to be in there, instead of never being thought of or put in there in the first place. You just really feel like, yeah, I have to put it in here. It has to be in here. And that's a fact. I don't get it. And I mean, most people don't even think about this. That's the sad, tragic truth. Most people just absolutely do not think about this, because it is a fact. And nobody thinks about it to the degree that I do. And no one even thinks deeply about it the way I do too. And really trying to understand and figure out why Peter Jackson had to do that. Especially in the extended editions of the 3 movies. It makes no sense. No logical sense. I mean, it's not like they're kids' movies. They're all rated PG-13. So if anything, they're movies for a teenage audience. And I thought that only stupid fucking kids like and think burping and farting is funny. But, I mean, maybe a teenage audience does too. I don't know. I don't know. My mind is just blown. I just can't figure out why Peter Jackson did that. Because I know I myself would have never done that. I would have honored and respected J.R.R. Tolkien's work and legacy as much and as best as I could if I would have made those movies myself. Unlike Peter Jackson. I would have never put in any stupid, ridiculous, unnecessary, overused, overrated, just sewer humor such as that in any of the movies, whether the theatrical versions or extended editions. And I would have made the extended editions an hour long, unlike Peter Jackson, which would have been way more awesome, because the books themselves are very, very long. And if he would have made an hour of extended scenes or whatever for each of the 3 movies, he could have, I don't know, put more in maybe, or perhaps. And he missed out. And I will never think those movies are great or even really good. I think at the most they're okay. Because that's how much him putting scenes like that in the movies made me feel about those movies. Just simply that they're okay. If he hadn't, they would have been great. And if he would have released them earlier and had made an hour of extended scenes for each of the 3 movies, then they most definitely would have been great, without a doubt. And I'm sad about it because, I mean, I'm so disappointed and upset because for the most part, I like those movies, or even love them. They're part of my childhood. I saw the theatrical versions way before I saw the extended editions, and I liked them as a kid. And I didn't think that much about them, or especially that deeply as I do now, and have for a while even, since I was a teenager. But I am utterly disappointed and upset in Peter Jackson. And I wish I could say this to his face. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And of course that I wish that The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King would have came out and been released on December 17 in the year 2001.